Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. It's your brother Mashayak coming at y'all with an edifying quick video through the power and spirit of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakakodash. So I want to go into this article. It says, Iran war creating a perfect storm for global food supply shortages. It says the war in Iran is creating a less visible but deeply consequential crisis, a disruption to the global fertilizer supply that could reshape food production and prices in the months ahead. It says, while much of the world's attention has focused on oil, the conflict has also interfered with the flow of key agricultural inputs, especially through the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow but critical shipping route. This passage normally handles a large share of the world's fertilizer trade, and its disruption has sent shockwaves through farming systems that depend on timely and affordable deliveries. It says fertilizer plays a central role in modern agriculture. Crops like corn, wheat, and rice rely heavily on nitrogen, phosphate, and potash to maintain high yields. When supply chains are interrupted, farmers are left with difficult choices: pay sharply higher prices, reduce usage, or risk lower output. In many regions, especially where profit margins are already thin, even a modest increase in fertilizer costs can force cutbacks that in turn translate into smaller harvests. The timing of the disruption makes the situation more serious. In many parts of the world, the conflict has collided with planting season. When fertilizer demand peaks, delays of even a few weeks can ripple through the entire growing cycle. Farmers who cannot access enough fertilizer at the right moment may not be able to recover lost productivity later in the season. This creates a lag effect where the full impact is not felt immediately but shows up months later in reduced supply and higher food prices. It says developing countries are particularly vulnerable. Many rely heavily on imported fertilizer and have limited financial capacity to absorb price spikes. Smallholder farmers who produced a large share of the world's food often operate with little cushion. When costs rise, they may simply use less fertilizer, which lowers yields and income at the same time. This dynamic can deepen food insecurity, especially in regions already facing climate stress or economic instability. Even countries with more robust agricultural systems are not immune. Higher input costs can work their way through the supply chain, affecting everything from grain prices to processed foods. Consumers may not notice the connection right away, but over time, grocery bills tend to reflect these upstream pressures. In this way, a disruption thousands of miles away can gradually show up in everyday expenses. It says there is also a longer term concern. Fertilizer markets were already under strain from previous global disruptions, and this conflict adds another layer of uncertainty. It says if supply remains unstable, countries may respond by restricting exports or trying to build domestic production capacity. While these steps can offer some protection, they can also fragment global trade and make shortages more uneven. What makes the situation especially challenging is how interconnected it is. Energy markets, shipping routes, and agriculture are all tied together. and a shock in one area quickly spreads to others. It says the fertilizer shortage is not just a side effect of the conflict. It is a reminder of how dependent the global food system is on a few key inputs and pathways. When those are disrupted, the consequences extend far beyond the battlefield. So I got two quick precepts. One going into prophecy and another one going into prophecy, but it also goes into encouragement for the believers. Matthew chapter 24, verse 7, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." And Job chapter 5, verse 20, it says, "In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword." I'm going to read that one more time. Job chapter 5, verse 20. "In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword." And let's go into that word redeem real quick. See what it says. Redeem means to recover ownership by payment, exchange, a coupon for value, or make up a false. Let me see what it says right here. In the Bible, to redeem means to buy back, ransom, or liberate someone from bondage, sin, death, or debt by paying a price, transferring them from captivity to freedom. It implies a kinsman redeemer, a relative acting on behalf, and we know that's Yahawashi HaMashiach, or a substitute payment with Yahawashi's death as the ultimate ransom, freeing believers from the consequences of sin. So with that, Yasharal, I pray our brothers and sisters were edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim Rakakudash. Shalom.